So this is probably update. I'm not sure what we're up to. Maybe nine or something. Maybe 9. Bad news. So so this is what's happened. It was yesterday that you had an appointment with the specialist.
Yeah.
This isn't the news we were hoping for.
No, not at all.
So the tumour in the bladder is cancer, but the good news there is that it's low grade. So that's treatable. The bladder cancer is treatable. The worrying one is the prostate, the tumour in the prostate. So that is cancer. It's an aggressive tumour.
Yeah.
Aggressive, yeah. So, so there's more tests to. We're a bit probably still shell shocked about
I've booked in for another test tomorrow.
Yeah.
Another scan.
Yeah.
So then, when I do that scan and they get the results, I'll go back to the hospital again.
Yeah.
And then they'll know what way to treat it, whether to remove the prostate straight up and with chemo or just chemotherapy. So until we get the results tomorrow, that's a more scan just to give them exactly where, if it's spread or whatever.
Yeah. So how we're at the moment is that it sounds like Gary's not 100% sure, but it sounds like they are the separate. You think it is the bladder tumour separate to the prostate, and this is actually very common for people, especially in Gary's age bracket, and that's interesting that you said on your first visit the doctor actually asked you if you've been exposed to any chemicals when you were younger, and that's actually a common link. So men of Gary's generation can develop the duo, which we did talk about at the beginning, which we were hoping it wasn't, but it's a duo of bladder cancer and prostate cancer together, and it can be caused by exposure to chemicals when you were younger, unfortunately.
Which most of us are, in some shape or form.
It was, and so that's really bad news. The bladder tumour, it sounds like, can be managed, because he said, how would that be managed? They've got the tumour out.
Yeah, they've removed the tumour.
Yeah.
Found out it is cancer, but a low-grade cancer.
Yeah.
So now I'll have to get examined every 3 months to see whether anything grows back from that tumour.
Like weeds.
Yeah, they call them weeds. Yeah. And it's just like if there's a weed there, they go in and pluck that weed out. And he said sometimes they grow, sometimes they don't, but if they do grow, then they usually stop growing if they remove them.
Oh, right. Like maybe picking a hair from the root. So by the time you pick them all out, they get weaker and weaker.
Yeah, and get rid of them.
Yeah.
But if they keep coming back, then they've got to treat it with chemo, and then they do chemo just directly in the bladder, not through the whole body. They can actually just go in through the
penis. So do they do that thing? Yeah. So and they test it through that too, or every 3 months.
Every 3 months they've got to go and get a local and put a tube in and make sure everything's all right. Put a camera in and check it out.
And that'll be under local anaesthetic, which you're not looking forward to.
So I get to watch that.
Yeah, I know, it'll be on the scan. So that's the bladder tumour. So it sounds like the bladder tumour is going to be treatable and manageable. And the tumour in the prostate, unfortunately, he said it's an aggressive tumour, but we don't yet know, because if the prostate cancer has just local spread, that's also very treatable.
Oh, very treatable these days.
These days. And how did he say that he'd treat it if it's local spread, or hasn't he gone into that yet?
He just sort of said there's a couple of options to remove it, or give chemo, just have chemo and not remove it. But most likely the best option will be remove the prostate and then have treatment after that. Because it's like if it's too bad, there's no good leaving it there. It's better off getting it out, getting rid of the cancer, and then just having chemotherapy for however long until they're satisfied. Which a friend of mine, this happened to 12 months ago or so.
Oh yeah.
And he messaged me today. He went back for his.
Oh yeah.
He went back. It must have been 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Or no, it was 12 months ago. But he's been for his second 6 months examination yesterday.
Yeah.
And he's all clear. So now he takes it to 12 months. So they check in 12 months, but there was no sign of anything. So yeah, he was just telling me how he went through it all. Everything's all good. Like he's very, very good now. So yeah, there's always positive.
That's excellent.
If you find these things early enough, which gets back to.
And that's what we'll get to in a second. So, I mean, what we're very much hoping isn't found is then if the prostate cancer's metastasised to lymph nodes and bones, and then the doctor said was sort of, if that is the case, he'll then talk to you about treatment options for that, which would probably be more aggressive. But the prognosis for all sorts of cancers like these days, and that's a really important message too, is that even if you get a prognosis of stage 4 cancer, there are, cancer, I read a really good article in the Weekend Australian that cancer is no longer a death sentence. Like 20, 30 years ago, it was really dreaded. But these days, a lot of people are living with cancer. It's treatable.
Yeah,
it's treatable. They've got so much up their sleeve, including immunotherapy, just a lot of things, and Gary's healthy as a horse and healthy as an ox.
Even the chemo and everything is so much more advanced than what it was. It used to be a horrible thing, but now it's not. People go and get their treatment and then go straight to work straight after it, where once you were sick for days, weeks, but not anymore. So.
Now, a really important reason we're sharing, so 2 reasons we're sharing really. One is we genuinely appreciate the community support because we've got this really good community on YouTube, and I know that people have got Gary's back and they put really good comments, and they'll be, and that's a good feeling, isn't it? You've got that broader sort of support.
It helps you keep positive. And
it does. The second reason, which is really important, is to raise awareness, because if it hasn't, or even if it has metastasized, it's probably there would be degrees of metastases. Like I guess I think the highest level, which is probably it's in your brain, lungs, everywhere. But that's hopefully unlikely to happen to you because you have regular. This is another important case. You have regular blood tests, and the last blood test before this one you were fine, and so it's hopefully just kind of cropped up now. And the reason this was picked up, and this was told to us when we did an interview with the blood bank. So Gary started giving blood, and so we did a video there at the blood bank. And one of the things the lady there said, and you can actually watch the video. I'll link to it. She said it's a health check, and she actually didn't name by name, but she mentioned a few people that had early pickup of a cancer or something wrong with them, and then they were able to get it treated early and they were fine. And you wouldn't know about your low, so it was the low it was the low iron levels.
Low iron level.
And Gary has no symptoms,
nothing.
Incredibly, and you wouldn't have known about the low iron if you weren't giving blood. So if you didn't find out about the low iron, and it's an aggressive tumour,
we still wouldn't know anything to this day.
He'd be walking around, no symptoms, and probably in a year's time it'd be probably too late.
It'd be too late.
It probably would be in your bones and everywhere.
Because it's only going to get worse. So
it's not.
It gets into your bones, everything. So and with not having any symptoms, without having checks or as in my case, giving blood and then getting blood tests. You would not know. Wouldn't know. And that guy I was just talking about, the guy I know.
Yeah, how did he pick it up? How did that?
He's been getting regular checks. He lived in Victoria and been getting regular checks.
PSA checks, you mean?
Moved to Queensland. His PSA was slightly raised in Victoria. Always had. It hadn't changed. So his doctor always just said, no, it's still the same, still the same.
Still the same.
He came up here, had to get a new doctor. Because it was a new doctor, the new doctor said, oh, it's a bit high. And he said, it's always been high. Yeah. He said, no, we'll get that checked out. Went and got a test, and he had cancer. prostate cancer pretty bad, and they had to remove it straight away. So if he just kept going to his same doctor in Victoria, the doctor would have just probably kept saying, no, it's still at the same level, it hasn't risen. So he had no symptoms or nothing either. And that's what he said to me. Because when I told him I had no symptoms, and he said, I had nothing. And I had to get it removed straight away. So yeah, you never know. So you've always got to keep getting checked. And sometimes changing up the doctor makes a difference too.
Second opinion.
Yeah, different opinion, yeah.
There are actually different opinions about PSA levels too, even in the medical community. Like, is it a reliable test? High PSA levels can come from enlarged prostates and all of that, but that's a testament to the fact that his slightly high PSA level was a concern.
Yeah.
So it's a really important point. Get your health checked, stay on top, and we have hopefully caught it early enough. With anything, the earlier you catch it.
Exactly.
So it's like because tumours are basically DNA damage. I think I'm not a medical expert, but and so the cells are just not doing what they're meant to do. They're just going a bit crazy. And so the more they go crazy unchecked, they're just going to go crazy.
It's worse, and so it's not going to get any better.
Whereas catch them and zap them.
So we've caught it.
We've caught it. You've caught it.
We're going to get on top of it.
The doctor's caught it. Yep. And
hopefully everything will be all good.
Yeah. And so next step. So you've got the scan tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then, but you don't have an appointment yet.
No.
It'll be.
It'll probably be a week or two. Because the results take a week or so to come back for all these tests.
So Gary's really inspirational. You're keeping really upbeat and really positive and determined to just fight whatever comes your way.
Yeah.
And you've got to.
You've got to. So stay tuned and wish us luck.
Good on you.
And stop that noise.